We are back with another live. So much things to say with an emphasis on silence, suppression, and compliance. Really hope that we can get some people in here. We can get the chat jumping. Also, going on my email right now to see if I can find any particular questions, comments, or feedback. It's always incredible if you're able to actually incorporate the voice of the people in what you're doing. And when I'm not able to do that for whatever reason, I am trying to channel what it is that's important, that matters, and what is relevant. And as I'm looking here in my email, I don't see anything. All right. That's neither here nor there. We're gonna keep it moving. And so here we are again on this live. Uh, for a little background for those who are new to this, I started doing this live because I wanted to continue to push forth the message, the content of transforming silence, suppression, and compliance into self-determining language and action. And that this particular emphasis or paradigm shift really is a part of the mission of liberation social work, a framework and an approach to dismantling, eradicating systems of oppression, and in the process of doing that, promoting and enabling self-healing, communal healing, self-knowledge, and cultural and social consciousness. Hey, what's up, cousin? Peace and love, peace and love. Cousins in the building. Uh, and so this live is just really to continue the conversation. My words are not the end all be all. It is just a piece of um, a series of bigger conversations that should be had, whether at the table, at the park, in a room, on the telephone, in the virtual space. It don't matter. But we need to continue to have these very enriching, value-oriented conversations that are rooted in our transformation. Um, and so hopefully with the continuation of these lives, we can be able to integrate and incorporate other voices in the mix. But until then, I am a-okay with a slow build. And so the last time that we were here, we talked about the many, many faces that people wear, the many, many faces that I have worn. I never disconnect myself from anything that I'm a part of. I am not, I am an imperfect being. And so therefore the experiences of humanity, yeah, absolutely, cousin, grow, grow, grow. Yeah, the experiences of humanity also reflects my reality as well. And so last week we talked, I came on here and we chatted it up about the many masks that we wear and having to hide and conceal who we are. Sometimes that's done for self-protection. Sometimes that's done because the place and the space that we are in is unsafe. Um, Sometimes that's just how we have learned to deal with life, is to not show our true selves because our true selves is not welcomed, not invited, and doesn't belong. And so there's many, many reasons associated with not showing up in our truest selves. And so, but at the same time, we must recognize that we must own it, understand it. And at the same time, as we're doing that, we must identify and envision how we really want to show who we are in the spaces and places and with the people that we are around. Absolutely. Yeah. Bending will break you from inside out. Absolutely. It sure would. It sure would. And trying to fit in spaces that, in very inauthentic ways can definitely create more pain and misery than good. And so I wanted to bring it back to today with silence, suppression, and compliance. One thing that uh, I have continuously realized in the work as a therapist, or whether I was in school or during my times in the military, um, and then also doing a lot of community work, whether speaking workshops or mental health panels, is that within us, we're always holding on to what we are trying to protect from other ears and other eyes and other bodies. And we're also holding on to things that sometimes we don't even know that we're holding on to. And so it's that phenomenon of having these experiences and these thoughts and these memories that we have not generated full awareness around. And since we have not generated full awareness around, we have not created meaning of what of the interpretations of how to use that to inform our lives. And and all these different spaces that I've been in, and even in my current work as a sociocultural therapist now, I do notice that tension between sharing and kind of screening. And what I mean by that is we're always, especially in social settings, we're always really measuring safety. We're measuring um, whether the people in these social settings are coming in with full positive intentions. For us who have undergone trauma and conflict and relational and social stress and all of those things and more, we are also looking at the people around us and wondering if there is some hidden agenda. And so, what that does, and I will say that I do this too, is that what that does is that you really start to you really start to take that lock and open that vault, and you put things in there that you don't think that should come out. And sometimes our intention is to just compartmentalize, store it for later. All right, put it in here, put it in the vault, lock it up. I'll deal with that in another time, in another space, with other people, or sometimes in solitude. But then you have those times where you continuously keep opening that vault, and you continue to keep putting things in there and putting things in there and putting things in there, and then locking that vault to the point to where the vault has reached full capacity. And when the vault reaches full capacity, then you have some spillover. And that spillover comes out in different manifestations. And I know I have seen this when working with people who are in particularly trying to gauge whether if if an experience that they've had, whether it is um, experiences around you know, violence, some type of sexual misconduct, some type of family estrangement, or even some thoughts and feelings around not fit of them not being whole, fully integrated, fully complete. Is that there? What happens is that there is this like this internal there's this internal interrogation that we have where we look at all the different things that make us who we are, or the things that we're going through, and we say, and we say yes to certain things of letting it out in full expression, and then no to certain things that do not come out in fullest expression. And the more we do that, the more that those silences build. And when the silences build, it can create inner turmoil. It can create psychological distress. It can create misery and agony. And it can also affect the ways in which we present, conduct, and connect in the world. Because as we continuously as the silences are building, and as we are looking around and we're feeling that I have no outlets, no safety nets for the things that I am going through, the things that are burdening my heart, the things that are occupying my mind. I don't have any space, place, or people to be able to share that with. You know, we begin to shut down, withdraw, disassociate, disconnect, and quite frankly, even though that we're doing it with the best intentions, because we as human beings, we have to feel safe and non-threatened in order to in order to be our true selves, to feel the warmth, to feel the embrace. And so, in that same breath, we are left with all this stuff building and building and building and building and building. And that can eventually create an implosion from within. And that implosion from within can also affect our behaviors, affect our speech, and also affect how we relate to one another. And so silence is one of those things that can turn from just being self-protective and can transform into catastrophe. I was one day I was at this particular art museum, and we were in Denver, Colorado, at an art exhibit, and on this beautiful art, this one exhibit, I forgot the name of it, but what stood out to me was this beautiful piece, this beautiful visual piece, and there was a mixture of collage and what looks to be like lyrics or poetry. It's one of the two. I don't know if it was an actual song or if it was just the artist integrating poetry pieces within the collage. But there was something that really caught my eye when I saw that, and it said, "For words unspoken." And I stood there 10 toes down, staring at those few words for words unspoken. And at this point, it was just me and those words were just circulating through the entirety of my mind and my body and my spirit. And it really made me think about just how much on a day to day basis our people, Black folks, folks, whether you're in the United States, whether you are in Europe, in the Caribbeans, whether you are on the continent of Africa, whether you are in the Pacific Islands, no matter, no matter your geographical region. But it really made me think about just how much we go to bed without applying the power and the energy to to creating meaning of our experiences through the use of words. And it really made me think about my family, my grandmother, my mother, my brother, my sister, my cousins. It made me think about um the civil rights era. It made me think about the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, Reconstruction, Jim Crow segregation, apartheid in South Africa. It made me think about so many things and how so many voices get muted and subdued, whether it's by force or because people are coerced or compelled to not speak because there have been examples made of what happens when you talk too much. And and what I've noticed, especially in relationship to political matters, is that when we start talking about things that are hitting the core of the issue and is challenging the status quo, we have seen the greatest tragedies happen to our communities. So, what does that do to us in our households, in the workplace, in public transportation, in the vehicle, on the sidewalk, on vacation, in passing? What it does is that particular the grief around the grief in the morning with with the in centering our political freedom fighters, our political revolutionary leaders, and all of that, that has informed us who are not the leaders of movements, the leaders of organizations. What has it informed us that if something can happen to Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, the list goes on. If their lives have been treated with so much disrespect, and there has been and there is impunity for doing harm to our Black leaders, our Black freedom fighters, our Black political prisoners, etc., then what will happen to me? What will happen to mine? And that paranoia sets in, and we become disconnected from matters and issues that speaks to the realness of what is happening to our condition, to our consciousness. And silence run deep. It runs deep. It runs deep. And it also flows into how we as adults bring up the next generation of young folks. If they are sitting around watching us and admiring us and modeling us and using us as their muse, and we are fearful, we are intimidated by applying truth to power and using the power of words and expression to be able to speak to the realities of our situation. Now, we're giving them a complete license to do the same. And so, to transform silence, to transform any type of any type of legacy of being quiet, of keeping it in, putting it in the figurative vault under lock and key, and just blindly following rules and regulations and policies be for the sake of it being um, something codified as legal, when in reality it's actually creating disparity. It's creating imbalance and disunity among people. And to transform all of that into language. And we do that by one conversation at a time. There is no real formula to this. We do not have to broadcast the conversations that we are having. We do not need to have a to have grant money in order to facilitate these type of transformative conversations where we are giving ourselves full permission to unburden ourselves from the silences that create terror and tyranny and misery within our blood and our bone. We can do that. We can do that without the gaze and the approval of others. And we don't need a full congregation to do it. Two is a group. We have so much technology. We can use voice memos. We can use notepads. We can draw. We can write. We can create platforms like this if we really want this to be more of a documentative public type conversation. There's so many different mediums of using language. And I'll leave us with this. I want to highlight, I want to see what my cousin put right here. They hit the outspoken in their pockets in the hopes their silence can be bought. Yes, I can grow food and I will survive. Absolutely. And definitely bring up a really good point about self-sovereignty, uh, us of us using our skill sets, our ideas, our understanding of the land, our understanding s- um, of cultivating substance in order to feed ourselves, feed our community, because what they have out here is not food; it's food products, and I've learned that from holistic nutritionists, um, um, naturopathic doctors, and even just from just if you just grab something and read the labels, read the nutritional facts. Um, we must become more self-reliant, self-sovereign, and use the land to be our to render the fruits of our labor. So thank you for putting that in there, cousin, because that's vital. That's vital, especially with all these data centers being built, all the data centers being built. Um, and the heat waves is creating so much imbalance within the biodiversity of soil, and the list goes on, y'all. So much construction, ecocide, all of that. We need to find ways of being able to create our own food development and food distribution systems. um, I will say this: Detroit is doing a really good job at doing that. Detroit has a really, really good food cooperative system operated and ran by Black folks. And I'm gonna find them right here, right now, as we are still on this live. But you're right, because we got to go back to our roots. And our roots is that we were agricultural people before there were factories and industries and military bases and government departments and agencies. We were. And so even if we're not doing it large scale, we need to start somewhere. Start somewhere, whether it's just doing your basics, your lettuce, your tomatoes, your onions. Start basic. Um, Let me see. Oh yeah, the Detroit People's Food Co-op. The Detroit People's Food Co-op. They are doing phenomenal work in the spirit of community self-determination, of of reducing food insecurity, creating creating pathways for Black families and and their varied communities out there in Detroit to have access to whole, nutritious foods. So I know there's many, many more other examples out there, but that's one of them. The Detroit um, Food Co-op. But neither here nor there. I like to keep this around 20, 30 minutes. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. And I'm going to continuously do these lives. I like to keep it this way because it's simple. It's straight to the point, and we can have community and conversation and communication in real time. For those who are going to catch this after this is if this is that this airs, I appreciate you, I respect you, and I honor you, and I affirm your humanity. Um, and I want to leave you all with one more message. Again, silence, suppression, compliance, it's all around us. It's all around us. We are forced to comply with institutional norms and institutional standards. We are forced to take in these fads, these pop cultural images and messages. We are inundated with marketing and advertising. We are forced to believe that we must be okay with our cultural memory, our history, our past origins being erased through the banning of so much literature, of the taking away of artifacts from the African American Museum, from the disbanding of DEI, and the rollbacks that has created so many Black studies and Chicano studies and Chicana studies programs to no longer be operational or being folded into something else. And so we're seeing this all around us. And yet and still, there are so many of us that are really leaning into self determination, naming, claiming, and owning who we are, and what we must do. So, in the spirit of that, continue to be revolutionary, continue to be uplifting, continue to empower, and continue to share and spread revolutionary love. This is Brother KD. Peace and love. We are each other's medicine.